good morning and also good evening, maybe good afternoon to everyone. And I'm Mousong from Nanjing University. Today I will share our recent work on using data assimilation system to understand how terrestrial systems cycle water and carbon. Here I just put one slide about myself, and my interest is about carbon cycle data simulation and also for model development. And so this presentation will highlight our progress from both the CCDAS and our newly developed LUCA system. And we all know that terrestrial systems play a critical role in the global carbon budget. They absorb around 30% of the anthropogenic CO2 emissions and slow down the rate of atmospheric CO2 increase. But however, large uncertainty remain in how we simulate and project the land carbon sink, as you can see from the right side of this figure. But we typically have two approaches to estimate the land carbon sink. The first approach, we can summarize them as this bottom-up method, for example, the survey and this occurrence, and also the most very important tool we usually use, the existing model. And then the other method we call the top-down, that atmospheric inversion, what we usually call it. But each of them has strengths and weaknesses. For example, the bottom-up models are mechanistic, but they are uncertain in parameters and processes. But the top-down inversion, they can capture atmospheric signal, but they suffer from limited spatial resolution and transport errors. So a central question arises: can we combine bottom-up and top-down approaches to consistently estimate land carbon sinks? So this question forms the foundation of our carbon cycle data assimilation system, or CCDAS. I think maybe most of you are familiar with it, because CCDAS is a framework that has also implemented into several models. For example, the OKD, the JUICE model, and also this MPI-ESM model, this JISPA, if I remember correctly. And this CCDAS framework we use, it links a terrestrial biosphere model, we call it BESI, with an atmospheric transport model, TM2. The key idea for CCDAS is to optimize model parameters by minimizing the mismatch between modeled and observed variables through a cost function. This cost function accounts for both model and observation uncertainties. So by just adjusting the parameters to fit observations, we can improve model representation and reduce uncertainty in the simulated carbon fluxes. And also we can estimate the parameter uncertainties as well as these carbon flux uncertainties. And we know that water and carbon cycles are tightly coupled at the leaf level through stormwater regulation. For example, when soil dries, stormwater will close, and it will limit both transpiration and photosynthesis. So this implies that assimilating soil moisture observations could reduce uncertainties not only in water flux, but also in carbon fluxes. So that's the initiation for our work. We therefore conducted several assimilation experiments to understand the carbon and water cycles using CCDAS. Here I show this experiment and also the data we used to compare and to evaluate our results. And our first case simulated small soil moisture observations. And also in combination with this site level CO2 concentration observations from the globe, as you can see from this map. And our results show that assimilating soil moisture together with the CO2 concentrations can significantly reduce uncertainties in the carbon flux. For example, here NEP and GPP from different regions we estimated. And also we found that with assimilation of CO2 soil moisture, and even we can improve this carbon fluxes simulation in most regions, we still have large uncertainties in the tropical regions and Asia. Because for this region, the most observations usually have very large uncertainties, or they have very sparse data, for example, in East Asia, especially in China. And then in the second case, we used this long-term ESA CCI soil moisture to explore the interannual variability in carbon fluxes. And our assimilation shows that it can capture the observed variability in the CO2 growth rate, especially during ENSO events. And we found that soil moisture dominates GPP variability during El Nino and La Nina, and their impacts are asymmetric. For example, it means that El Nino reduces productivity more strongly than La Nina enhances. And next, we combined this microwave data from SMOS with the optical observations, for example, the FA par from the GRCT, to test whether joint assimilation of different sources of observations could further improve our estimates. And our results indeed show that assimilating multiple data sets reduce the carbon flux uncertainty substantially compared with the prior. And even assimilation of FA par slightly degraded this, for example, RMCE in this estimated CO2 concentrations, but it produced much better seasonality and amplitude in the simulated CO2 concentrations. Moreover, we found that the soil moisture simulation also improved significantly, especially in the tropical regions. So it demonstrates the synergistic value of multiple data streams. And with these assimilation results, we further diagnosed this pantropical NEP recovery after this 2015-2016 El Nino event. And our results showed that the pantropical NEP had not fully recovered by 2020. And we also further found that this delayed recovery was linked to this asynchronous responses of GPP and ecosystem respiration, especially between the forested and the non-forested regions. So despite these promising results we have achieved with CCDAS, we found several limitations. For example, the very coarse resolution we use for CCDAS that handle the detection of very fine scale responsive to drought and heat waves, and more observations are usually needed to constrain parameters from different processes. And also the computational cost increases when the model complexity increases. And moreover, the data assimilation system we use is usually not publicly available, especially for this joint code. So that to address these challenges, we developed a new generation system, the Nanjing University Carbon Assimilation System, LUCAS. LUCAS is designed to operate at high spatial and temporal resolutions, driven by remote sensing data, and is openly available. It incorporates the two-leaf BEPS model and uses a joint-based optimization for computational efficiency. This system includes parameter sensitivity and supports multi-stream data assimilation. LUCAS can assimilate different types of observations. For example, here we show this tracer gas carbonyl sulfide we call CORS, because this can reflect the stormwater conductance and transpiration, and also SIF, solar-induced chlorophyll fluorescence. It links to photosynthetic activity, and soil moisture, as we have shown, it controls the stormwater behavior and also photosynthesis. So first, we test out the robustness of this LUCAS by conducting this twin experiment. And our results show that the LUCAS can effectively retrieve the original parameters after this perturbation, and this demonstrates this robustness and efficiency of this system. And then we applied this LUCAS for set-level assimilation. Here we show the example for assimilating this tracer gas COS, of course. We use the data from the 7 sites around the globe that has coarse observations available. here shows the location of these sites. And we found that the coarse assimilation can constrain model parameter related to physiology and also water and energy balance. And more importantly, this coarse assimilation can improve not only this coarse fluxes itself, it can also improve this model performance in GPP here, and also in ET, soil moisture and sensible heat. So this indicates that this course can provide valuable constraints on both carbon and water cycles. And then we conduct a further simulation experiment by a simultaneous
我非常倒霉，
simulation.
前面有个线上的会。
By a simultaneous simulation of coarse sieve and soil moisture. And we found that when we assimilated these three types of observation together, we observed very substantial improvements in both GPP and ET simulations. So this integrated approach provides a more complete understanding of system function. And to summarize, we found that remote sensing data remote sensing data assimilation can significantly improve the representation of global carbon cycle, and the assimilation of multiple data streams lead to great reductions in uncertainties compared with any single data source. And we also developed this new data assimilation system, LUCAS, which integrates multi-source observations within a unified 4D framework based on the satellite-driven BEPS model. And more importantly, this LUCAS is totally freely available. And in the next step, we will apply this LUCAS at regional scales by assimilating more observations such as VOD, sieve, soil moisture, and FA. And we will also combine this coarse and CO2 concentration constraints to improve these estimates of regional and global carbon fluxes. And also, we aim to generate the high-resolution water, energy, and carbon flux products to support climate change research. And here, I put this link to the LUCAS from GitHub, which is freely available, both with the BEPS model code and its joint code. So I welcome collaboration and feedback. Thank you for your attention. I will be happy to take any question.